I'm going to take my time with it. So if you were thinking that you were going to just get, oh, here's a review. No, not happening. There's a lot more to be said here, and I'm going to take as much fucking time as I need. So if you're watching this after the fact on a video, go ahead and get up out of here if you were looking for one of those short, sweet reviews. Now, with comic book reviews, my reviews have usually been very in-depth and very detailed. I no longer have the enthusiasm to do that. The last big one that I did was the 2-hour-long Justice League one. That was fun to make. And I went through the history of the Justice League, and I like doing those. I took a poll. My fans said they want to see more of that. I don't have the enthusiasm to do that with current Marvel and DC. I just simply don't. Maybe I will at some point, not anymore. So what you're going to get right now is my thoughts on this, and in it will be plenty of spoilers, just like those videos in which I was referring to. I don't do any like spoiler-free reviews. I don't know how to do fucking those. So everything that I'm about to talk about right now, again, if you're watching this video or you're watching this live, you need to get up out of here if that's something that you care so much about, is spoiling of the plot. I'm going to spoil the motherfucker out of it. And you'll thank me later for it for sure. Nonetheless, I'm only sliding this review and me talking about this in a video during a show. I don't even want to go out of my way to be editing and doing the videos and writing my scripts. And no, it's not worth it to be spending all that time on that. No, for what? And we'll get into why that is. Baseline thoughts about Marvel's Black Widow. Maybe remove yourself from, let's say, the characters, and let's just see the movie for a movie. What is it? Well, it's a movie about a character who apparently sometimes is Russian, doing spy Russian stuff, links up with a family that's not really a family, but becomes a family again as a family. Shout out to Dom. And then they beat the bad guy and win the end of the movie. Now, that's a popcorn flick. It should be. But no. This is the Marvel Cinematic Universe. We can't do that. It cheapens it, right? There's always something greater here, right? Because it's the Marvel Cinematic Universe, right? It's not just a popcorn flick. But isolate it. And if you remove the context from the social era that we're in, as well as what the movie is, an adaptation of comic book characters, I could see where someone would think that it's a movie that they could watch while they play in the background doing something, right? The problem with that is, why do I have to fucking do that in the first place? Why would I have to remove myself from that in order to even get some mild enjoyment from this fucking film? See, this is why I can't do it anymore. The more knowledgeable you are on comic book material, the worse the experience is going to be going forward with both DC and Marvel. They made it abundantly clear that they don't give a shit about any. You know what this feels like? And I'll get into all the detail. I told you I'm taking my sweet ass time on this video. Oh, he talks too much. You just get to the point. You're talking too slow. Go fuck yourself. The movie was 2 hours long or whatever. They took their motherfucking time. I'm going to take mine. So sit down and shut the fuck up and get your lesson. Nonetheless, the more knowledgeable you are on this material, the worse the experience is simply going to be. I feel like this is what happens, right? Hey, Marvel, we have control. Disney, Marvel Studios, we have control over all of these characters now. Here's a sheet of paper of who they are, what their names are, and what their powers are. And if they wear suits, we have kind of a little sketch. And I feel like those producers, those screenwriters, those script writers, those actors, those actresses, those directors look at that list and they say, okay, what my finger land on. Okay, we're going to use that character, and then we're going to do what I fucking want to do. That's what the Marvel Cinematic Universe basically is, and Black Widow is that in the film. It doubles down on basically every single mistake that they've made up to this point, which, to be fair, maybe they were less making mistakes before, but now they're all in. Now, the gaslighters, the reviewers, right, who will probably get something out of it. If they'll dislike it, they're going to dislike it for a completely different reason than I am. You're going to get the people who are so enthusiastic. Oh, look at what I saw in the background on minute 450. That means Kang the Conqueror is going to show up. Like all that type of retarded shit. Enthusiastic thumbnails and shit. I'm not doing that. I'm just not. No. I'm not interested. Not interested in fucking all, to be completely honest. But it's a film that you would have to remove all context to get some sort of enjoyment from. Now, I guess the question that a lot of people are going to ask me is it social justice bullshit? Yes and no. That's my assessment. We'll talk about the actual plot in a minute. But is it so, like, that's the thing, right? Marvel Cinematic Universe, Victoria Alonso, Kevin Feige, they've said they're going in a direction, but Black Widow seemed to be in production right before they were going balls deep into that shit. I say yes and no. The reason why I say yes and no is because, yeah, there's no way you could put out a movie like that and people are not going to think that you're taking shots. The reason being is basically every man in this movie is a bad person, an objectively bad person, or they're fucking retarded. That's about it. Or the beta as fuck, uber evil. There's no in between there. But any fucking man in this. Now, look, you also have to understand the context of we're talking about Black Widow in Red Rooms. There's supposed to be multiple of these, like, you got obviously it being centered around females, women. That's not a surprise, right? That's to happen. And that's what a lot of people are going to point to. To be completely honest, I don't need to say it's a point of social justice to say that this fucking movie is fucking lousy when you consider the context. But I just wanted to acknowledge that because a lot of people are going to say, well, that's the question that they're going to ask me. So let's just, for the sake of conversation, say that, no, it's not. It still is a fucking problem. So what we have here is complete and utter destruction of characters. You remember me getting so mad at the Captain Marvel movie? I know the retards and the people with the blue check marks on Twitter, anybody that was against the Captain Marvel movie was a Brie Larson hating misogynist. It wasn't guys like me that existed who gave precise, specific details as to why they had an issue with the film. And you remember one of those films, that film, and one of my big points was what they did to a character, namely Marvel. We have Marvel 2.0, not as bad. So let's say 1.5. Not as bad. That's the worst tokenization that I've ever seen in any modern era comic. That is the utter worst. What they did to Marvel was goddamn criminal. But we have that yet again. A lot of people alluded to the idea that Taskmaster in this movie was going to be tokenized. It was going to be played by a woman, a whammon. Well, I'm here to say you are fucking correct. But it ain't just that. The character ain't fucking Taskmaster at all. In fact, basically none of the characters are the characters at all. Now, I try not to nitpick with comic book related stuff. It's going to be somewhat unrealistic in certain aspects. Definitely when you're dealing with a character like Black Widow who has no powers. But aside from that, you'd think she had powers in terms of how she acts. This heifer was taking falls like 100 feet in the air and was getting up like, well, shit. And I'm like, are they even fucking trying? Do the writers know Black Widow, she's not a super soldier? This heifer was taking falls. She's taking falls like, I don't know how long of falls. and being able to grab on fucking ledges without ripping her goddamn arms off. Like, it's amazing. And I felt like they paid a little more attention to detail. Like, look, guys, it's not going to be the most real. It's not, you shouldn't expect it to be. But holy shit, they didn't even try anymore. They didn't even try. It was just, this chick is going to be doing some outrageous stuff that should hurt her a lot more, considering that she is not superpowered. They don't even care to pay attention to that anymore. I'm talking zero fucking fall damage. COD has better fall damage than that shit. This heifer was falling off. I'm talking again, 100 feet in the air, grab onto a ledge, bro. You know, if you were going down that fast and you grabbed on to something, your arms are literally going to be ripped off of your fucking body. You're going to keep falling. Your arms going to be still grabbing on that goddamn thing right there. That's what's going to happen. Not with her. But I'm not going to nitpick that. The characters aren't the characters regardless. The clear and obvious is Taskmaster. Taskmaster was neutered. Okay? Yes, it was a sexual and a sexual, well, yeah, gender swap of the character. That's what's happened. The route they went is that Dreykov is it's his daughter, who Black Widow supposedly killed but didn't kill, of course. And between that explosion, he puts a chip like in her head, the Dreykov, so the girl's father, and then the girl grows up to become basically Taskmaster, and she's able to mimic other people's stuff. But that's the only thing that is Taskmaster about that she does things that some of the other characters do. So you see an instance where she like pulls out kind of these claws like Black Panther. Obviously she's throwing a shield thing like Cap. But that's about the only thing that, okay, you could say Taskmaster does, right? It's not Taskmaster. It's just a guy that's dressed like a hunter on Destiny. Or is it the hunter on Destiny? Just dressed like a Destiny character is basically what it is, but it's a female. That's all of this is. That's it. It's not Taskmaster. It's another one of those needless change. Now, why? Again, some people are going to say, well, it's for social justice reasons. There's also a line in there I almost failed to mention that would give you, if you do want, okay, ammo, there's a line that Dreykov says. He says, the one resource that that the world has too much of, one natural resource that the world has too much of, and he says girls. Now I know some people that wait for that type of shit probably just sunk in a chair when he said that. But again, aside from all of that, my biggest gripes is the fact that these characters were fucking botched, all of them, right? Apparently, which I didn't find that out until after the fact. And the chick that, okay, so let's backtrack. So it starts with, you get some insight as to Black Widow's upbringing, and she's sitting there with in a part of a family, and there's another little girl, and there's a guy and obviously an adult man and an adult woman. So they're seen as this like father and like mother kind of combo, and those two are the little girls. You find out actually after the fact, obviously those two were not the real mother and father of those two little girls. Those two little girls aren't even fucking related. Those two little girls end up being, of course, Black Widow, and the one is now Yelena Belova, which is a Black Widow that got introduced like 20 years ago, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, that is a comic book character if anybody is curious, but that's it. So when I talk about, okay, well, we land on a name and then we go like this. That's what I feel like Marvel does with these characters, because their relationships with each other don't make any fucking sense. They're not in any way, shape, or form comic book accurate. You have, for example, Red Guardian, who was the father in that role, which turns into a retard out of nowhere. I guess prison made him that way. But you have Red Guardian, who instead of being what you've known him as, if you're knowledgeable on the comic books, and that's of a more of a love interest. And I believe they were actually married at one point, albeit arranged, but they were married at one point. And that's Red Guardian to Black Widow. Well, he's more of a father figure in this fake family. Obviously, they're spies working for Dreykov or whatever it was, as he's trying to deploy. Has this grandmaster scheme to have all of these fucking Black Widows of the world that are all around and all of that dumb shit. So Red Guardian is now the father figure there, right? And the mother, again, this is what I was trying to allude to before. The mother, I found out was Iron Maiden, which I didn't know, because who the fuck was that? But you're seeing as like this lead scientist for Dreykov. This, again, none of those characters are who they are. None of them. Like, none of them are. They're just characters. They're just characters with the name, and sometimes they have the likeness. Yeah, Red Guardian puts on a suit, and if you don't know who he is, he's kind of the Russian equivalent to Captain America. So he puts on a suit that he really can't fit in, but he's a dumbass the entire movie outside of the beginning. And he's a complete jackass. And again, I guess the excuse they're going to use is that prison maybe did that sort of to him. But it's like a night and day difference between the character when we first got introduced to him, and then when we get by the end of the movie, it's like not even the fucking same. He gets his ass kicked by Taskmaster too, for the most part. But the fact that there are going to be gaslighters who look at this movie and they say, well, it's a different universe. That's the number one excuse, right? It's a different universe, so I'm just supposed to just take anything that Marvel gives me. Doesn't matter. Tokenizations, race swaps, gender swaps, characters that are only the character in name and sometimes in how they look in a suit. I'm just supposed to accept that. And this goes to show where we're at with the Marvel Cinematic Universe, is that they think they can throw anything, and they can, to be fair. This movie's going to make money. They can throw anything, and you're just supposed to accept it, or you're a toxic man, baby. It's no in between. You just have to like the shit, or you're a toxic man, baby, who's a purist, which isn't an insult to me, by the way. You're a purist, and you hate the women and all sorts of shit because, God forbid, you criticize a depiction of a character that you already knew and understood. It's not the characters are becoming only the characters in name. That's it. I'm not saying that didn't happen before. Y'all know my thoughts on Spider-Man. But it's amplified now, right? It's like every single one is just not the character. And I get it. So people are going to have their issues with the plot points, this sort of gas shit, kind of making I know a lot of people didn't like that, making the Black Widows, if you will, snap out of it. The girls of the Red Room snap out of it and become more acting as individuals. I know people are going to have issues with this one sort of stipulation with the indoctrination that if you smell Dreykov anywhere around, that you can't attack him. Right? You can't attack him. I know. And so she breaks her nose at one point so she could punch him in the face or whatever. Yeah. All of that is a problem. I get all that. But my issue, and my number one issue, is the same issue that I have with all of these books, or rather all of these characters that they're bringing up, is none of these fucking are the characters. These are just the characters in name. That's it. That's it. It's not Black Widow. It's not Red Guardian. That ain't Iron Maiden. Like, I don't know what to say. It's a bad look, but this is why the Marvel Cinematic Universe is going in the direction that they're going, because they can't miss. They can't. They can throw anything out there, and remember, you're supposed to accept it and embrace it. And if it differs so much so that it's not even anything remotely like the character, you have a problem, and you are the issue, because they're appealing to normies who, again, will Google everything they can just like that, after they saw it, maybe slightly before, to become experts on it. And because they have no connection to this material, well, they don't care what the changes are. They just want to like it, and you don't like it, and you getting away with that. Therefore, you're being toxic, and it's a different universe. You should just accept it. What's the big deal? It's just a change. No. And I guess this is my message to everybody who is still kind of has some sort of hope for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Don't allow these weirdos to gaslight you into just accepting anything it is that they give you. Like, I know some people have gotten too comfortable because they like, all right, well, whatever. I know the character ain't going to act like anything it is, so I might as well just fucking take it for what it is. No, you're not required to do that shit. You ain't required to give them your money. You ain't required to watch their shit. Give them your viewership. You're not required out of any of that. You can tell them to go fuck themselves. And when the weirdos who they do appeal to try to lecture you as far as why you should be consuming this material like a fucking pig, without saying nothing, there are actually pigs in the movie, by the way. Reminds me a lot of, I don't know if they were supposed to be, but it's an analogy as far as I'm concerned with the people who just take anything that happens in the Marvel Cinematic Universe and they fucking love it, regardless. Because of the theories that they can come up with. A lot of content creators are going to fake like the shit because they make material off of it. Their whole entire content rests upon how good the Marvel Cinematic Universe do. So they'll get everybody enthusiastic through these theory videos. Oh, man, if you pause it right here, you saw this. What does that mean? I'm going to spend 16 videos talking about that. This is what a lot of these weirdos do. That's who they're appealing to. Normies. They're not appealing to you. But the fact that I have to remove all knowledge of a character in order to become some sort of pleased or satisfied at me spending an hour or 2 hours watching this dog shit, that's bullshit. I don't have to do that at all. So I'm not. Stay away from it. If you are remotely knowledgeable on it, stay away from it. You know, that's all I care about. Accurate depictions. It ain't got to be exactly like the comic books. It don't have to be verbatim to a T. Though if it was, I wouldn't complain. You wouldn't either, because you're a fucking normie. But that's not my expectation. I just want it to be honored. Those are not those characters. That ain't fucking Taskmaster. That's not Red Guardian. That's not, again, I had to find out the fact that fucking ain't Iron Maiden. These characters are not these characters. They're not. They are characters, and again, it's where they're going. It's like they get a list, and they have like a sketch, and that's it. They just use the character and do whatever the fuck they want. It's a fucking free ball, bro. It's a free ball. Whatever they want, the character, does that make sense? Of course not. Well, it doesn't matter. They're going to still make sure they make that happen. It didn't have to make sense. And again, the more knowledgeable you are, the worse the movie gets for you. And that sucks. That sucks, dude. It really does. Because you can't be enthusiastic about this shit. Kevin Feige told y'all blatant. Victoria Alonso told y'all blatant. This is what they give a fuck about. Victoria Alonso sat and lied like the sack of shit she is, talking about they pay attention to the comic books. They almost follow them to a T. That was the quote that she had nerve to fucking use. Let me find the exact quote, because I don't want to get straw man here. So for any of the crackheads who watch my videos and they're like, well, no, it's different. No, this is what this heifer said. I'm going to show you right here with the receipts. Covering this from the CBR, who is covering it from Variety. This is what this heifer said. I'm going to find it. Here it is. Don't forget, we follow our comics. We try to follow them quite to a T. That's a fucking lie. You're lying to my face. Or no, rather, you're pissing on the audience and telling them that it's rain. That's what you're doing, taking a goddamn leak on them. No, you're a liar. And then they'll talk out the other side of their mouth. Kevin Feige talks at the other side of his mouth talking about they don't even give a fuck about the source material. That's why they used the Eternals in the first place, because they were like, well, these are characters we know a lot of these folks don't know about, so we're going to fucking get them and put them out there and change them up fucking in. The Eternals cast, none of them are basically playing their counterparts. None of them. They have them in name. Selma Hayek is playing fucking Ajax, bro. That makes no sense. Oh, well, is she the best person for the job? No, you fucking liar. That was a purposeful casting and it sucks. Period. No. That's bullshit. That's bullshit. They're all in on bringing the characters up and trying to tell stories within a universe. And the characters don't have to act. They don't even have to look. Sometimes they'll slightly look like a Spider-Man, kind of when he's in a suit. Sometimes kind of looks like Peter Parker. He's not. He doesn't act like him, but you get what I'm saying. For the most part, though, these characters will not act. The relationships they have with each other will not be anything remotely like what you anticipate as their prominent depictions in the comic books. And because they've gotten away with this multiversal bullshit, you're supposed to accept that that's the case because, well, it's a different universe, right? So why have any expectation at all? And if you're so fixated on it's a different universe, why fucking use the characters in the first place? How about that? What's the point? It's a different universe, so you might as well just not use the characters at all. Come up with your own original shit. Come up with different IPs. Matter of fact, don't even associate it with Marvel if that's the fucking point. Do not allow these gaslighting assholes to have you deviate from. You're not required to do that. No. They're using characters that you know and understand. You are perfectly within your right, and obviously you are being a reasonable person to anticipate that the character looks like their comic book counterpart, which is a visual medium. Do not let these gaslighting normies try to do exactly that to make it seem like you're the one that's being irrational because you have that expectation. So yeah, maybe if you don't know who the fucking characters are fucking at all, maybe you'll find some sense of enjoyment, maybe. But if you are anything remotely knowledgeable on these characters, I'm not talking about fake knowledgeable. Like, I'm talking actually read books. Not Wikipedia fandom Googler. That's not who I'm talking about. You can expect that the characters in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, especially the new ones that they're going to introduce, are not going to be who you expect them to be. And that's what that was, Black Widow. It's only the character in name, the movie. That's what Black Widow is. That's basically what that is. I know people expect me to just go all the way in on the tokenization of Taskmaster. I don't even got the energy to do that shit. I don't. It was exactly what we said. The Bears are who we thought they were. And that's the way we took the damn field. They are who we thought they were. And they did what it is that we thought they were going to do. And that was they tokenized fucking Taskmaster. I don't even have the energy to even be spending that long on it. I just want you to understand the overall point in that people like myself obviously, and the people like myself and the points that we make. These aren't characters that you know and understand. They're not. They're just characters in name, and that's where the buck stops. That's it. So, those are my thoughts on Black Widow. It's a waste of my goddamn time. And it's not just because, well, they're telling a story that Black Widow's gone, so why are they telling it? It's too late. I get all of that. Even if it was released before she had died, like as more of a kind of prequel kind of situation that fit better within the Marvel Cinematic Universe, it's still dog shit. It's still dog shit. It's a dog shit depiction, and the characters that they brought in, yes, namely Taskmaster, they fucked up disastrously, and that's what it is. It's characters in name, the movie. You're getting that with Eternals, and you're gonna get that with a bunch of other characters. We should have fucking saw this coming in. And really, yeah, we got a bunch of other tokenizations before that. Yeah, as Black as Guardians, it don't make any sense. I've talked about that. But for sure, Marvel was the worst one, and for them to just double down and do that shit again is wow. Yeah, there it is. So those are my thoughts, and that's all I gotta say about it. I'm not doing, unless there's like someone that says something retarded, maybe then I'll do a response video to something they said stupid about the movie. But as far as I'm concerned, I don't have much else to say. You just watched a clip from my podcast, For Canon's Sake. Catch us live at 12 p.m. throughout the week over at youtube.com/YoungRipper59 and follow us over at odyssey.com/@YoungRipper59. If you want to watch the entire video cast after the show is over, just be sure to become a member on the YouTube channel. Of course, the full audio portion of the podcast is available for free on all major digital platforms, or just visit forcanonsake.com.